Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Stardew Valley Versus. That's right.
Yep, this is Stardew Valley Versus. I am currently playing as Krobus, if I remember the name correctly.
Krobus?
Yeah.
Krobus got nerfed. I'm playing Pam.
Oh, yeah, no, but it's
got
not
that
fair
drunken
to play Pam.
rage.
Everyone knows that Pam mains are the absolute worst. Ugh.
Yeah, that drunken rage. She has her ultimate is a freaking bus. It's just not fair.
I could see that being like a Wario type move of just a whole bus across the map.
I like. Okay, well, let's start the run in really quick. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hell yeah.
I'm really into those like weird mods that change that. I think I talked about it before, but it was probably in the actual Stardew Valley series how there's a Battle Royale mod for Stardew Valley.
Yeah, that is remarkable. Just because, also, how do you have the server infrastructure for that when it was just made multiplayer?
Yeah, I have no idea. But like, now that we joked about it, I just like really want like a Stardew Valley hero shooter, you know? Like Paladins, Overwatch. Give me like Stardew Valley, Fortress 2. I'd be into it.
Yeah, I'd be down. The Plants vs Zombies Modern Warfare one. Yeah, the Garden Warfare rather. That gives you a little bit of hope for it at least, surely.
It's true. If that can exist, anything can exist. If that can exist, you can fly. You know what that's what you should tell yourself to motivate yourself every morning when you get out of bed. If Plants vs Zombies can create a hero shooter and it be well regarded, I can get out of bed. Like that's just like, if that can happen, you can make breakfast, you can do your chores before you start your work. It's okay.
I've always been a fan of if this person can believe themselves, this person just being an insert for a person who clearly is very full of themselves. If this person can believe it in themselves despite being who they are, then surely you can. Just do it.
Yeah. But it never works for me. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I noticed yesterday or 2 days ago or something. Whatever. Who cares? It's weeks ago by the time this video is out. Who cares about semantic? Time's a construct. Life is fleeting. We're all like effectively dead.
Yeah.
Already. I downloaded Paladins, and I just thought about it. I was like, why? You know, like I have Overwatch. It's
as soon as you said that you downloaded it, that was my first immediate response as well. Like, oh, did you get a prize for being the first person in 2019 to download it?
it's believe it or not, it's like had a resurgence, and that's like why I checked it out again, because I actually played it a while ago, and it's not bad, like, you know, at all. It has some aspects to it after they had like this weird, really stupid pay-to-win patch that like almost killed the game entirely. But then, so everyone still thinks that the game is pay-to-win, but they removed that like literally as the patch came out. But everyone still has decided it's pay-to-win.
Yeah,
so
those kinds of stains stay.
It lasts. But like it's like, hey, what if Overwatch, but you had the ability to customize your character, their attacks? And I was like, I'm into that. But then this is all not the point. The point was, I was like, why did I download this? Like, I have Overwatch, Team Fortress 2 is downloaded. You know, like, why does it sound exciting to me? And then I realized it's because like I don't care. Like, I really don't care that they're all like kind of the same game. In fact, it's sort of exciting to me because it's like there's 40, 50 characters in Paladins, and it's like I get to play Overwatch, but I get to learn 40 new characters for Overwatch, and I'm just excited about learning new characters' abilities.
So you're treating it as an expansion pack for like Overwatch and TF2.
Exactly. I was just like, I downloaded this because I just wanted to play different Overwatch. Like I downloaded this because it's a quote unquote Overwatch clone.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that's why I got it, because I was like, I want to see what they did, and you know, it's fun to play a new game and go through that honeymoon phase, at least for me, where you're like, let's see see what these characters do. Let's see these weird combinations, and it's just like, it's fun to see like the inspiration too. It's like this character is like this character mixed with this character from Overwatch or whatever. And then a lot of them, despite what the internet would say, a lot of them are completely fresh and new and like unique to an extent.
Yeah, those kinds of like discussions get set as a circle jerk very, very, very early on in the game's lifespan and then don't really get changed despite iteration.
Yeah. And it's like, I think another thing that people have to realize is like, it's a first-person shooter where you're adding abilities to modify your ability to shoot. If you could create one with 40, 50 characters and none of them reminded you of a character in Overwatch, you are a freaking legend. like I don't know.
At the same rate, though, if you are making your characters specifically to not be similar to characters in Overwatch, then you're still letting Overwatch define your characters.
Exactly. And it's like, Overwatch's characters aren't that complicated, truly.
No.
Or, you know, Team Fortress 2's characters aren't that complicated, really. They're like defined by their weapon, mostly in TF2. So it's just like, okay, if you're making a game and you're like, I'm gonna not be Overwatch, or especially if you're like, I'm gonna not be Team Fortress 2, you're basically saying, I'm gonna make a game where everyone has weapons, but their weapons don't have anything to do with their attacks.
Huh. I'm gonna try and make a game that's not fun.
Yeah, I want to make a game that will be not fun, so that the internet will like it. So that the internet won't have something to say about it. It's like, yeah, well, the internet's just gonna not talk about your game then.
Did you ever end up actually playing Loadout?
Loadout? I have not heard of it.
I want to say about 4 years ago, it was a kind of a deathmatch styled build your own weapon free to play third person shooter. But the build your own weapon bit was like really, really quite complex. Like if you ever played Mother Gunship, it actually kind of got almost as complex as that.
Okay, but it was an arena shooter.
It was an arena shooter. It was the same kind of just like load in like TF2 and just fight to the death. And every time someone would kill you, you'd have the chance to look at what they made as their weapon and how they did it. But it was always like, oh, like you could have this be a beam weapon or a laser weapon or a rail weapon, and it can heal or it can damage or it can sticky. It was like really, really, really good in my opinion. But
it's a really fun concept. Yeah, that's like, I definitely have a handful of those where I'm like, this game is fantastic, but it just nobody played on. Like the one that's chief among them for me that I always think of. I mean, yeah, I can understand why people have reservations with it just because of its art style. Honestly, to be honest, I think that's truly like the biggest thing working against it. But weirdly, one of the things I like about it. But the game is actually challenge failed. Oh, I did Gunsling King and I just didn't even listen to it. The game is Battle Right, or Bloodline Champion / Battle Right, effectively. It is like remarkably like for competitive play, it is so polished, so clean. It was just like the perfect esport game, but it just didn't have a player base that stayed with it. It was just effectively like if you took the. Did you check it out at all? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are we still talking?
Battle Right?
Yeah, sorry. I have seen discussion about Battle Right. I've never seen a single image of the game. Yeah.
So it's effectively if you took a character in a MOBA and then you made them like have like a crazy high skill cap. like, or not skill cap, skill roof. Like, you could play them and be okay just by like being a beginner, but like each character had so many complicated like things they could do if you were like really good. And basically everything in the entire game was a skill shot, and it was boiled down to like a 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 death match. And it was just like the most pure esports kind of combat I've like really seen. And it just didn't kick off, but it's so good. And they're like I think they've ceased production on it like this year, I think.
It's almost a shame. It's like a game I would never play, but I'm still like, oh.
Yeah. The thing, it's just like, it's one of those things, these games, they need to have a player base, though. Like, it's like people weren't playing it because it didn't have a player base. There wasn't a player base because people weren't playing it because it didn't have a player base because people weren't covering it, you know.
Yeah.
Just, it's a circle. It's a circle. It's one of those.
It is. It gets even more frustrating in that there literally cannot be that many popular online games at the same time with large enough user bases to sustain themselves. There's just not that much time in the world for everyone to be keeping up with, 4 different online games.
It's true. It's true. And like, I don't know. I definitely I don't play more than one multiplayer game at the same time usually. Like,
it's one more than I do.
Yeah, like that's the if I'm playing a multiplayer game, if I even am. It's very much it's a crazy competitive market. There's just like so many people, of the people that would refer to themselves as a gamer play exclusively multiplayer games, and I always forget about that.
Yeah, the amount of times I've had a discussion with someone where some element of the fact that I'm interested in games has been incorporated into the conversation, and yeah, exactly. And now I have to explain myself in front of them, and it's always in those moments I realize, oh, this is not the universal gaming experience of indie roguelikes and card games and single players.
Yeah,
it's like
they're like, those exist. Most of the time, if they're like somebody who's not into games, they're like, never heard of it. Like, yeah,
it's always more it's always more like, oh yeah, okay, so like I've been playing this kind of like Uncharted game or this code game or like the kind of AAA tentpoles, and I'm like, oh, I guess the most popular game I played recently is Prey. It was 2016 game. Yeah,
I always, that always crosses my mind, and I'm like, it would be embarrassing for me to talk to another person who plays games and imply that they might not know Binding of Isaac. But I'm like, you know what? It's like, it's such a juggernaut in the indie sphere, but that doesn't mean that much. The average gamer, probably the average one probably doesn't know Binding of Isaac, I would guess. I would say, even as huge as it is, I'd say less than 50% of people who would classify themselves as a game, I can't, wouldn't know what it is. I still think, and that's, I always remember that. I'm like, oh man, we're in such a niche. Like we're in a niche, and I always forget that.
I mean, there's not a problem with it. It's just something to get starkly brought into view occasionally. When I try and say a relatable anecdote about, an artistic, kind of like walking simulator kind of game to someone, and they're like, I've never heard of that in my life.
Where's the guns? What's that? Wait, what's that?
I know where all the guns are.
Oh yeah, it's in Enter the Gungeon. You better believe it. What was that one game that's being made by? Oh God, what was the 2? It's like they had that trailer that they did a beautiful like walking sim trailer through like this lush kind of like almost jungly environment, and they were saying brought to you by the people who made Dear Esther, and then they had halfway through the trailer some rock music started playing, and it said, and the people who brought you whoever, and then a bunch of guns came out, a bunch of undead people. Was that Remnant?
What?
Yeah, you don't know about this?
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's like it was made by by one team who was really popular for, I think, for Dear Esther. And then the other one was just like known for these crazy action first-person shooters.
How long ago did the game come out? Or, sorry, trailer?
The trailer was like a couple years ago. I can't remember. I don't think it was Remnant, though.
Yeah, because Remnant, if we're talking about Remnant, like Fall from Ashes, that came out like earlier this year, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I can't remember. Oh, man, I want to pause to Google it.
You know what?
Okay,
I'll pause to Google it, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that is because I already died a while ago, so I'm in the second run, so I've straight up lost.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Dear Esther, rock music trailer video game.
Guns.
2016 guns.
I don't know if it's
because
2016.
Reto asked me to Google it.
Oh god, I can't remember. When you say the name, I'll know. It's
okay.
like
the first 5 results for this, at the very least, are Dear Esther. So it passed that whole thing and gave me Dear Esther back at the very least.
Okay. It might not have been Dear Esther. It might have been another walking simulator game or whatever.
So it's probably Chinese Room or Bloober Team. Those are usually the two. It's not everyone's gone to the Rapture, so it's got to be Bloober Team then. Bloober Team NA. They were the team that did Observation as well as Layers of Fear.
I don't think it was them.
It was not them.
Oh man, I've caused the problem. Maybe this was a fever dream. Maybe this was just my dream.
Walking
but I'm almost
simulator, trailer, rock music.
I think it has something to do with the word witch. I think maybe the word witch is in there. I don't. Oh man.
Witch. I'm gonna
I think
put
it said
East Shade.
Then, wait, what?
Is it East Shade?
Maybe. I don't know. This is great content.
Extremely. Yeah, sorry about this. It's extremely large. I'm just very, very, very interested to figure out what it is. By the way, at this point.
And then in the trailer, I was at school and I was in my underwear, and then my teeth fell out.
Right. Yeah. No. Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna go back to Google and tell it that information as well. And when Reto saw the trailer, he was at school in his underwear, and then his teeth fell out, and he was late for an exam.
Exactly. Oh man, it was probably more than a year or two ago. It was probably a lot more. It was at they showed it off at some, I don't know, either some convention or, I don't know.
If anyone knows the game about which we are currently talking, please get in touch.
I gotta know. Let's see. I mean, I want to just Google like walking simulator with guns.
With guns. Sorry, walking simulator with guns is just an FPS, my dude.
I know, but like I think that's what they.
Ultimate Pate?
No.
Trespasser?
No, I'm convinced it doesn't exist now, and I just made it. I'm convinced I made it up.
All right. Well, my next pitch is let's start a game development team, you and I, and make the game. I'll be in charge of the walking simulator. You can be in charge of the guns and the rock music.
Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah.
I don't know rock music.
Okay, I'll take the rock music as well then.
Wow.
I mean, that's good enough as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
That's also probably not copywritten, so we can probably use that.
It's true. Wow.
Oh, perfect. I got a clean drop on that one. I'm going to take that out and pop it in some other tracks.
Just remove the gunshots.
No, I don't need to. I got the clean drop on it because I wasn't talking at
good.
the time and the game wasn't that loud.
Perfect. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't know. They were just like, I say walking simulator with guns. I know it's a first-person shooter, but that's like, they were relying on the shock factor because like the first half of the trailer, it was just the walking simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, but wait, no, completely different. And it stuck with me. It stuck with me, but apparently not enough to remember the name. I could tell you like what it looked like, but I can't do anything else.
Okay, tell me what it looked like then.
It looked good.
I'm glad I asked.
They were like walking through a path, and there's kind of like a very like green kind of misty sort of. I don't. Oh man. And then
Like a pastoral kind of thing.
Yeah, and there's like a skeleton with glowy eyes showed up, and like after the music dropped and the person looked down, they pulled out their guns.
Dragun?
It was great.
Is it Dragun?
No.
Oh.
I give up. I give up, but I don't. I give up, but I can't give up. You know?
Yeah, exactly. There's like a small part of my ego that's like, it's a game, Ryan. Come on, how hard can it be to guess the name of a game?
The thing is, it probably ceased development and therefore got buried by the 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
Like it was probably one of those things. Do you have any games that were like announced at like an E3 or whatever and just never became a thing that you just are so sad that it never is going to be a real thing?
I have a straight up full up Wonder List of so Wonder List is like a listing app if anyone is interested. It's very good for getting things done. But yeah, no, I straight up have like a list of things that I'd taken down while I was watching shows that never came into fruition. One of them was From Below.
Yeah.
You saw that one as well?
Yeah. That was like the one that I was gonna say.
How are you such a genius?
I have no idea. But I can't remember the name of the other video game.
I love that both of us knew that one because that was like 20. Because I was living. Yeah, so 2014 must have been when that trailer was announced.
Oh god, yeah, forever. Oh man,
like it was.
I don't know.
Just after Bloodborne.
Something like that.
I think it's around that period of time because it was effectively like supposed to be kind of like the promise of the Thumerian chalices from Bloodborne, but good. Bloodborne is good. It's just the chalice dungeons most people despise.
I didn't finish Bloodborne. It's one of those games that I love but didn't finish.
I have to make a confession. My excuse for why I hadn't finished Bloodborne yet for the longest time was that I don't have a PS4. But now that I live with Peak and he has a PS4 and Bloodborne, I still haven't played it yet.
Oh, lock him up.
Yeah.
Cuff him. Book him.
Throw away the key.
It's okay. I haven't finished it, so I can't say anything. I just realized if you stand up, you know the statue in the I won. The statue in the breach with the dragon statue. If you stand behind it and line yourself up perfectly, your head can line up perfectly with the top of the bullet piece, so that you can create the rest of the outline. That's unfinished above its head. It's great. I just found that out.
I was hoping it was going to completely obscure the character, but perfectly in kind of like a opening to. Oh no! Yeah, opening to Undermine. Exactly that. Undertale. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do that. I do that literally every single time. Every mine.
Mm-hmm.
Every tail.
Can people stop using under and mine in their names?
Yeah.
Because Undermine only got away with it because it used both.
Yeah. Next up is Tailcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Craft under.
Don't forget
Minecraft. Wait.
Make sure not to forget the subtitles on those, by the way, as well. It's always Legends of Asteria. Tales of Teleria. It's always
Wizard of Legends.
Oh.
Great game, horrible name.
Awful.
It's so bad. The game I've gone on record multiple times. I think that game would have like blown up if it had a name that didn't sound like a mobile game. Genuinely. I almost didn't play it.
Yeah,
anyway.
I had like a relatively similar experience with it as well. But before the no, not before. It's your episode.
David for watching. The podcast is over. We'll see you again next week when I maybe will have found out the name of that game. Bye-bye.
Adios.